What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Wide Body Nation. Would you let someone test drive your car right now? I don't care what you got. I don't care if you've got a Lambo or a 500,000 mile Lexus in your driveway, in your garage right now. Would you let a random person come in and test drive it? That's what we're going to be looking at in today's video, but looking at it from the customer and the dealership perspective. So comment below. Honestly, would you let some random person, no background check, no nothing, that you just get to size them up, boom, sure, test drive my car. Would you? With that being said, in this video, we're going to cover three things. We're going to cover what is going on. A lot of you guys have been telling me that dealerships are not allowing you to test drive certain cars, especially the higher horsepower, V8s, $50,000 plus cars, certain cars, right? And why that is, why dealerships are saying that. Second, should you care? Should you really care about a test drive or not? We'll look at new, used, certified, pre-owned. And lastly, we will talk about how you can increase your chance of getting a test drive. And I say chance, I'm not guaranteeing anything here because it's up to the dealerships. It's their cars, it's their insurance, it's everything. So with that being said, let's go ahead. We're going to look at some statistics. We're going to look at different type, Dodges versus Beamers versus Mercedes, because it matters, right? If you're going in to test drive a Toyota Camry and compare it to a Honda Accord and it's $30,000, it's a little different than going and test driving a wide body Hellcat Redeye that's got 797 horsepower that is pretty much solely intended to burn tires off and do burnouts and donuts, right? So with that being said, quick reminder, we are on our way to 5,000 subscribers. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button if you have not already. About 83% of people don't want these $250 Apple AirPods Pro. Simply change the subscribe button from red to gray. Automatically enters you to win, and let's go. So what is currently going on? Some of you guys are telling me that certain dealerships are not letting you guys test drive pretty much SCAT packs and up. Maybe we'll call it V8s and up. Now, there's a lot of aspects to this, right? Not only does the dealership not want you guys to just straight up go get into an accident, because accidents are bad in general, right? Like no one wants to get an accident, property damage, physical or health damage to you, mental health, all types of, lawyers, insurance, there's a whole mess. But think about it this way. A lot of you guys have been hitting me up about the wide body SCAT packs, about the wide body Hellcats, about the popular cars, the C8 Corvettes, all the good stuff, Ram TRX. Those cars are going to sell. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when and really how soon. Is it going to sell this weekend or next weekend? It's not even a month thing. Most of these cars here don't stay on the lot for more than, I would argue, a couple of weekends. I say a couple of weekends depending on their spec. If it's a weird spec, it probably will survive a weekend or two. If it's a good spec, a real value optioned car, then it's going to go quick. It might go off the truck. A lot of people's getting these cars off the truck. So why, I guess, put myself in the dealer's shoes. Why would I let some random person who hasn't put in a credit app, who hasn't put in a deposit, who hasn't even sat down and talked numbers with me, why would I necessarily let them go drive my 485 or 707 or 797 horsepower car? I don't know. It's a tough sell. I'm trying to put myself in the dealer's shoes. If you guys are getting upset about it, jump in the comments below. I feel like I'm going to have some of you guys kind of turning against me in this one, but that's okay. We pissed the dealerships off with our monthly payment video, so that's okay. Kind of spread the wealth here. So we've got, the whole, everybody can agree accidents are bad, right? But not everybody gets into an accident every time they get in their car. But here's the deal, risk versus reward. If the dealership knows they're going to sell these wide bodies and these popular cars, the C8s, the wide bodies, the TRXs, why do they need to even give a test drive? I mean, it's going to sell, so why would I then give a test drive? That's me talking as a dealer hypothetically in my brain. So there's just really no incentive there. Now, dealerships may lose people because, maybe you're a customer and you go and say, hey, I'm debating between a wide body SCAT pack and a narrow body SCAT pack. But if their policy is we don't let people test drive the SCAT packs no matter if it's wide body or narrow body, then maybe you'll just go to a different dealership that does. So maybe they'll lose some sales. I mean, that's the risk that they are, I guess, willing to take. Now, some of the ways that you guys have seen dealerships preventing test drives are just a couple off the hand. A lot of them say, hey, if you put in a credit app, we will consider it. They kind of leave it in an open-ended, kind of more of just a normal conversation trick, right? But I can empathize with them on the credit app. Like if they check your credit and for any which way reason you don't really have any plausible way of buying the car, I mean, unless you come in with a briefcase full of cash, then again, what's the reason for them to let you test drive the car? So another thing they like to do is if it's a dealership that doesn't maintain a huge inventory of these very popular cars, they'll put all of the popular cars on the showroom floor so that when you come in and say, hey, I want to test drive that, it's like, oh, well, gonna have to move a bunch of cars, gonna have to start the cars inside, and all these different things, all the excuses that I guess are technically decent excuses, but I mean, the showroom is there for a reason, and you see some dealerships that put one of each type of car in the showroom, and then you see other dealerships that just have all their fast cars, all their whatever cars, like all the ones people want to test drive, they put in the showroom. So just something to keep in mind. All right. So now that we talked about kind of what's going on, because you guys have been hitting me up about it and saying this is BS or whatever it may be, let's jump into, should you actually care if they let you test drive the vehicle or not? So in my mind, for a new car, the generic answer is no, you should not care. Now, I know, again, jump in the comments. Let me know what's up. Say I'm an idiot. But here's the thing. If you are, let's take the wide body Scat Pack, for example. What car are you cross-shopping the wide body Scat Pack with? Does Chevy make a wide body sedan that has 500 horsepower? Does Ford? Does Kia? No. You're probably there for that car specifically. People show up. When I bought my first and second C8 Corvette. Did I test drive it? Absolutely not. They said buy it or see you next Tuesday, right? I mean, it's just how it's how it is. It's with new cars. Take it or leave it. That's what it is. Now, if you're talking cars that are a dime a dozen, like whether it's a more intro level BMW or whether you're comparing a Camry versus an Accord, I would argue that that's probably a good time for a dealership to let you test drive. Dodge dealerships, they might not let you test drive a Scat Pack wide body or a Hellcat wide body unless you either let them run your credit or whatever it may be. But they may let you test drive Durangos, Jeeps, all the other cars that aren't super high horsepower, aren't like social media crazy. They may let you do it. So in my mind, yes, the cross-shopping aspect, if you are not allowed to test drive the vehicle, it does hurt that aspect because you can't drive it. So you can't compare it to how the other car drives. But at least for the cars we talk about on this channel, if you're buying a C8, you're buying a C8. If you're buying a wide-body Scat Pack, you're buying a wide-body Scat Pack. I do get it. You can cross-shop, but they're pretty narrow funnel cars, especially with all the hype, right? Now, used cars, whole different story. If you can't test drive a used car, that's probably a deal breaker for me because you're getting sketchy pretty quick. Because like we talked about in our last video, used Hellcat versus new Scat Pack, that kind of stuff. I mean, you can make an argument for the used Hellcat, but like if you're not allowed to test drive the Hellcat, then you could be the thing could be chugging out of the dealership and the steering wheel be misangled and AC doesn't work. All these just totally beat on, makes a weird noise. The wheel bearings are blown out, but you can't tell any of that unless you test drive it, right? It makes a weird whine. It meows at you. So if you're buying a used car and they don't let you test drive it, unless they've got a really, really good return policy that's like a no questions asked, like a 30-day, 3,000 mile no questions asked, and then there's a manufacturer warranty or you get another warranty, I would go somewhere else. There's always another used car, right? Now on the new car side right now with the factory being closed, that's a different story. But so here's a quick tip before we go to part number 3. If you're considering buying a used car, like a used Hellcat, I did this when we were buying a truck when I was helping one of my friends buy a truck. Now, he didn't want to buy a new truck, but we were having trouble figuring out which were the solid new trucks and which were not the solid ones because we went to some dealerships and they were sketchy, other ones and they weren't. Like we were test driving these trucks, right? They're just like Silverados, right? So I said, hey, why don't we go test drive a brand new Silverado that's exactly the spec he wants, but just he's going to buy a used one. So test driving the new version of the used car you want, as long as it hasn't been majorly changed, right, is a good way to see how jacked up that used car is. So you need the test driving function there, even though I'm telling you a lot of these cars you're not going to be able to test drive at the dealership. All right. So with all that being said, point number 3. Ways to increase your chance of getting a test drive at these dealerships. First of all, I would argue that the number one way you can increase your chance of getting a test drive is by rolling up in a car that is decent. Well, actually, pause. First thing is being actually in the car market and able to afford said vehicle, right? Because if you have those two things, you have a reason to be at the dealership. You have a legitimate reason to be asking, can I test drive that vehicle? You can afford the vehicle and you are in the market relatively soon, right? You know, week, month, couple months, right? I mean, or you're going to put an order in, right? Now, next thing, how you're dressed and what car you show up in. And I know that sounds very materialistic of me, but I mean, perception is reality, right? If you show up and you look like you are either a risky person or a shady person or a person who doesn't care about anything, then they're probably not going to let you go take out a 50, 60, 70, $100,000 car by yourself or with the salesman just because that's the air you're giving off. If you roll up in a $100,000 BMW and you're in the market and you're just looking at buying a wide body scat pack, you might have a better chance. I'm not saying go get a car than to test drive a car. I'm just saying if you have a friend who has a nice car, that could help you out. You know, showing up to the dealership in a nice car can help you get a good chance at test driving, although they might know that you're into cars, so you might not be able to get as good of a deal. Other than that, you know, just conveying how serious you are as a buyer. Hey, I'm really looking to get a deal done here. I'm cross shopping it with I'm cross shopping this wide body scat pack with the C8 with a base model C8 Corvette, and I just really want to see the difference because they're two night and day cars, coupe, you know, rear engined, whereas this is, you know, front engine V8 from Dodge, right? That's the way I see it. I usually don't side with dealerships. I really like to look out for the customer. I really pride customer service, taking care of the customer. But in this case, with it's not even a you thing. It's not even like a me thing as a driver. It's the roads are crazy, and I know dealerships have designated test drive routes. I know that there's not, you know, not everybody gets into an accident every day, but you know, even if you're sober as a brick and the next Ricky Bobby for Talladega Nights 17. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be a tractor trailer with some dude that's cross-faded, drunk as a skunk, that comes and T-bones you both. Not only is that car gone, not only is that sale gone, but most importantly, you're injured, maybe seriously. Salesperson is injured. That other driver could be injured, even if they're at fault. It's just with some of these cars that are basically guaranteed sales, I just am not seeing an overriding reason why the dealership should roll the dice for a sale that's going to be already executed. That's just how I see it. And I know it's probably not the popular opinion, but I've been getting a ton of questions about it, so I figured I would address it in this video. I mean, I have friends on Instagram that are salespeople. I've got local contacts. I've got contacts all over the nation, and I've seen over a handful just in the past couple of months of wide body scat packs, of narrow body scat packs, getting into accidents. Some they're the drivers at fault, some the prospective buyers at fault. Others, it's not their fault, but people still get hurt. It's just, I know insurance is involved, but it's never pretty, right? So let me know what you think in the comments below. Personally, a lot of the cars I own currently, we did not test drive. Even my wife's RAV4. I asked her before this video, I said, Meg, would you let someone come test drive your car right now? She said, obviously not. You know, I am a little bit more blasé about it, and I put my money where my mouth is. I rent some cars out on Turo, but I got their money, and it's insured through a third party before they take the car out, right? So we got our ducks in a line there. You know, and when you're running as a business to make the sale for the rental car, and that's the purpose, it makes sense. Some of the Wide Body Nation has driven my C8 before. Some of the Wide Body Nation has driven my C7 before. Some of the Wide Body Nation has ridden with me in my other cars. Yeah, but that's not to say that I don't go look at your Facebook profile. That's not to say that I don't, before you're driving my C8 around. That's not to say that I'm not saying, hey, what car you got? What are you up to? Why do you want to drive the C8? Just it's just a reality. That's just how it is. So let me know what you think. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Don't forget to check out the $51 or more worth of value in the pinned comment or in the description below. We got M1 Finance that wants to give you guys $30 for opening up an investing account with them and depositing $100 in order to get you started. They allow you to buy fractional shares on M1. So even if you don't want to put in $850 to Tesla or thousands of dollars to Amazon, you can put in $100, $200 and still get exposed to that super growth. And then you got Webull, 4 free stocks valued up to $3,700. You get, the chances are that you're going to get, between more like the $8 to $15 stocks for free, but that still adds up. I mean, if you get, 2 or 3 of the $10, $12, $15 stock, that's still $20, $30, $40 in your pocket just for depositing your first 100. And you can just take it out if you want. So I use these apps. I get a kickback from it, but it's in no way, a product that you guys have to do. Just trying to, spread the wealth here. So appreciate you guys tuning in. If you guys have not checked out some of our most recent videos, there's some interesting stuff. So you'll see those here, and here. Appreciate you tuning in. Stay safe out there. Have a good test drive if you can get one for a wide body SCAT. And I will see you for the next video.